Hello, my name is Tom Carhill. It's Tuesday the 9th of September 2014. I just want to read something to you. It's a report by Jamie Bartlett and Carl Miller. Their names are spelled Jamie Bartlett, Bartlett, and Carl Miller, Carlmiller. And the report was published on the 29th of August 2010. It's called The Power of Unreason, the subtitle being Conspiracy Theories, Extremism and Counter-Terrorism. Right now, on the back cover of the report, it says, conspiracy theories have become a mainstream cultural phenomenon. This paper considers the role they play in extremist groups and counter-terrorism work. It presents the first ever analysis of conspiracy theories in the ideology and propaganda of 50 extremist groups: religious, far right and left, eco, anarchic and cult-based. It is argued that conspiracy theories are a radicalized multiplier which feed back into the ideologies, internal dynamics and psychological processes of extremist groups in three ways. Firstly, they create demonologies of the enemy that the group defines against itself. That the group defines itself against. Secondly, they delegitimize voices of dissent and moderation. And thirdly, they encourage a group or individuals to turn to violence because it acts as rhetorical devices to portray violence as necessary to awaken the people from their acquiescent slumber. More broadly, conspiracy theories drive a wedge of distrust between governments and particular communities, which can hinder community-level efforts to fight violent extremism. It is, however, difficult for government to tackle conspiracies. The paper calls for government institutions to be more open, investment to enable young people to think critically and recognise propaganda, and for civil society to play a proactive role. This paper is the first in a series of policy papers on emerging themes in extremism and terrorism by Demos, focusing on under-researched dimensions of extremism. Future papers include the role of women in extremist movements and methods to de-glamorize Al-Qaeda. Right. And in case you didn't catch that, I should have said it. These people are being paid by Demos, which is a think tank, which is a kind of quango, which is kind of like partly the government, partly not the government. It's kind of half private, half government owned. But they're government funded, so your taxpayers are paying for this. Right. Open access, some rights reserved. As the publisher of this work, Demos wants to encourage the circulation of our work as widely as possible, while retaining the copyright. We therefore have an open access policy which enables anyone to access our content online without charge. Anyone can download, save, perform or distribute this work in any format, including translation, without written permission. This is subject to the terms of the Demos license found at the back of this publication. Its main conditions are Demos and the author or authors are credited. This summary and the address www.demos.co.uk are displayed. The text is not altered and is used in full. The work is not resold. A copy of the work or link to its use online is sent to Demos. You are welcome to ask for permission to use this work for purposes other than those covered by the license. Demos gratefully acknowledges the work of Creative Commons in inspiring our approach to copyright. To find out more, go to www.creativecommons.org. That's creative, spelt like creative is, and commons, COMMONS.org. And there's a little sign, it's kind of a little blurb, it's got Creative Commons, so I think it's a bit like DVD, you know, it's kind of like, obviously like a little bit of a trademark thing. Published by Demos, 2010, some rights reserved. 3rd floor, Magdalen House, 136 Tooley Street, London, Sierra Echo 1 2 Tango Uniform. Telephone 0845 458 5949. Fax 0207 367 4201. Email hello, that's HELLO, at demos.co.uk, and demos, in case I hadn't described before, it's DEMOS. Executive summary. This paper is the first in a series of policy papers on emerging themes in extremism and terrorism by Demos. These papers focus on under-researched dimensions of extremism and do not present an exhaustive answer, but suggest new avenues of study. Future papers include the role of women and gender in extremist movements and methods to deglamorize Al-Qaeda. This paper examines the role of conspiracy theories in extremist groups. Numerous studies have considered a variety of factors that encourage extremism: ideology, grievance, poverty, religion, and social networks. The role of conspiracy theories, defined as accounts of events as the deliberate yet concealed product of a powerful few, regardless of the evidence, has been ignored. This study is the first attempt, as far as we are aware, to research this subject and should be viewed as such. We have conducted new analysis of the literature, ideology, and propaganda over 50 extremist groups from across the spectrum: religious, far right and left, eco, anarchic, and cult-based. The groups are or were active over the past 30 years and are drawn mainly from the United Kingdom, Europe and the United States. We have focused primarily on extremist groups that have become violent, and that's one, it's going to be referenced, although we have included a small number of extreme groups that hold socially problematic views, such as those based on racial supremacy. Our analysis shows that conspiracy theories are widely prevalent across this extremist spectrum, despite the vast differences in the extremist ideologies themselves. For far-right groups, the concept of Zionist-occupied government, ZOG, Z-O-G, that is, that a small cabal of Jews controls the world governments, is central to both ideology and propaganda. For Al-Qaeda, the other radical Islamist groups, the conspiracy tends to be generalized Judeo-Christian capitalist quest to destroy Islam. Far-left and anarchist groups propagate a Marxist-inspired bourgeoisie conspiracy of international financiers or global elites, which they sometimes believe is leading towards a new world order of a unitary totalitarian government. Cults, on the other hand, tend to believe in conspiracies that are targeted against their specific group or movement. It is striking that there is considerable overlap and fusion between many of these conspiracies, even across groups that exist at opposite ends of the ideological spectrum. And he's got a reference point 2 there. Sometimes the boundaries between a well-defined conspiracy and a general account of events and power where society develops structures of control to favour the powerful over the weak is fuzzy. Indeed, some conspiracy theories can in some cases have a grain of truth to them, or be based on some facts, and then be wildly exaggerated. Many far-left groups, for example, believe in a Marxist structuralist view of the world, where financiers, international bankers or multinational institutions hold unaccountable inordinate power to maintain the status quo. Sometimes this worldview tips into a more precise conspiracy with clear, nefarious human intention. Sometimes it stops just short. Sometimes there may even be some grounds for such a belief. The consequences, however, are often the same, pointing to forces beyond our control, articulating an enemy to hate, sharply dividing the group from the non-group, and sometimes legitimizing violence. The frequency of conspiracy theories within all these groups suggests that they play an important social and functional role within extremism itself. This does not mean that conspiracy theories are the proximate cause of extremism or violence. There are many extremist groups that do not believe in conspiracy theories as far as we can tell, such as the Real IRA or the Unabomber. Conspiracy theories are not a necessary condition for extreme beliefs or action. Equally, conspiracy theories do not always lead to extreme or violent behaviour. There are many peaceful, even moderate groups that believe in conspiracy theories, such as 2012. Ecological groups who believe that in 2012 the world as we know it may end, or the 9/11 Truth Movement. While it is not possible to demonstrate direct causal links between conspiracy theories and extremism, our findings suggest that the acceptance of conspiracy theories in context of extremism often serves as a radicalizing multiplier, which feeds back into the ideologies, internal dynamics and psychological processes of the group. They hold extremist groups together and push them in a more extreme and sometimes violent direction. This happens in three ways. First, conspiracy theories create demonologies of the other or the enemy that the group defines itself against. Second, they delegitimize voices of dissent and moderation by casting them as part of the conspiracy. Finally, they can encourage a group to turn to violence, acting as rhetorical devices to portray violence both to the group itself and their wider supporters as necessary to awaken the people from their acquiescent slumber. More broadly, conspiracy theories drive a wedge of distrust between governments and particular communities. Conspiracy theories, such as those that claim 7/7 or 9/11 were inside jobs, demolish mutuality and trust that people have in institutions of government, with social and political ramifications that we still don't fully understand. This can especially hinder community-level efforts to fight violent extremism. A more long-term threat is that extreme and violent groups could start to form new alliances based on shared conspiracies, as has already happened with the national anarchist movement and various far-right overtures to Al-Qaeda. Moreover, extreme groups may be able to draw on a larger counterculture of conspiracies as a pool of possible recruits. Therefore, fighting the ideology of extremist groups, a central component of counterterrorism strategy since 2001, should also target the myths, lies and conspiracies that are part of it. However, attempts by government to factually refute them often inadvertently give them legitimacy. We recommend a small number of interventions focused on making government institutions more open and investing more resources in enabling people to think critically, rather than government confronting conspiracy theories directly. The government's prevent agenda should focus more on programs that encourage critical thinking and deconstructing propaganda. More generally, the Department of Education and Skills should review how far the education system equips young, page 6. Oh no. Sorry. Young people with sufficient digital literacy to navigate false and counter knowledge on the net. There is an alarming increase in the amount of information that young people are consuming and trusting on the net. It is not clear they have the critical faculties to navigate the many bogus claims they encounter. While government cannot tell people what to think, they can help teach people how to think. Our education system must equip young people with the tools to discriminate credible information from its many imposters. As a part of the review of counter-terrorism powers, the government should consider if greater transparency could be introduced in counter-terrorism work. Some specific interventions should be introduced to that end. such as annual public intelligence reports by the new National Security Council, more maximum disclosure policing, increased openness in court proceedings in major terrorism cases, and continued focus on good community relationships in counter-terrorism policing. Counter-terrorism agencies are inevitably the target of conspiracy theories because of their secretive and sometimes coercive nature of some of their work. For both resources and security reasons, much of what the intelligence agencies do must remain secret. However, there are some opportunities for greater transparency in counter-terrorism work. It is very difficult for government to effectively fight conspiracy theories that have already gained a foothold in extremist groups. Civil society must play a more proactive role in confronting the lies and myths of conspiracy theories when they find them. Fighting conspiracy theories is something that, by definition, is almost impossible for government to do, but civil society groups do have credibility to do so more effectively. In addition, the public sector cuts means government capacity to respond will be necessarily reduced. Key groups and associated conspiracy theories. The conspiracies listed below are by no means comprehensive. As noted above, there are several moderate groups we might have included. The literature of a number of other possibly problematic, although not necessarily terrorist, groups was reviewed, without identifying significant conspiracy theories, including the Animal Liberation Front, the Earth Liberation Front, English Defence League, ETA, Hazib ut Tahrir, vicious hacktivist collectives, King Mob, Armed Free Love, Antifa, Action Director, the Anarchist Federation, Black Bloc, Red Action, the Continuity IRA, the Fire Revolutionary Cells, and the Real IRA. Some lone wolf terrorists who have publicly attempted to justify their actions, such as Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, were included. In addition, there were a number of groups who expressed conspiracy theories, although did not appear to be extreme in the sense defined above, including the 2012 environmentalist groups, the Church of Euthanasia, and MOVE, that's M-O-V-E. Every effort has been made to ensure that the conspiracies listed below were in official documents or speeches of the group in question. However, given the nature of these groups, sometimes it is hard to determine how far a publication or speech represents official ideology rather than an individual member or leader's personal view. We have tried to make such distinctions clear. Right now, there's a table here and it says extremist group and it's got like a 3, so that means it's referenced somewhere at the end probably. It's got extremist group, and then on the right of that it's got conspiracy. So religious extremism, Al-Qaeda inspired groups, anti-Christian Zionist apostate, Muslim or Zionist Anglo-Saxon Protestant coalition wages a crusade against, in quotes, God, his messenger and Muslims, and that's reference 4. National boundaries are an American conspiracy to divide and create internal divisions within an otherwise united Muslim people. Reference 5. Right, next one. Anti-abortion extremists, Army of God, Lands of Christ. Freemasons control the world economy through manipulation of paper currency. A secular humanist conspiracy to take God out of society. Many conspiracy theories have close affinity with American far-right militia movement. Allegations of Zionist like Zog and one world government, and reference to Jewish bankers and international financial elite, and that's reference 6. Body of Christ, Attleboro cult, refused the use of all medicine and 2 children members died as a result. That government religion, education, science, the arts, medicine, commerce, banking are all under the controlling tools of Satan. Reference 7. The next one is under the same one, a belief that Jews, blacks, communists, homosexuals and race traitors have seized control of the United States. Oh, the reference 8, this is actually the next one, part of the next one. It's Christian identity. They've just messed the table up. Sorry. Yeah, that's Christian identity. I'll start again. Christian identity, because he's got the table mixed up. A belief that Jews, blacks, communists, homosexuals and race traitors have seized control of the United States. Reference 8. The dual seed line doctrine within Christian identity states that Jews are the literal descendants of Satan. That's reference 9. And the description of Christian identity is a racist religious philosophy that maintains non-Jewish whites are God's chosen people and the true descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel. It spans neo-Nazi, KKK, survivalist and militia-based organisations. Next one. Hamas. Excerpts from the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion are included in the Hamas Charter as Article 22 of the Hamas Constitution. Reference 8. Jewish extremism. Gush Emuin, or Bloc of the Faithful, an Israeli messianic and political movement committed to establishing Jewish settlements in the West Bank. Examples of one leader, Noam Federman, stating that leftist conspirators, the Attorney General, the Secret Services, the media, are in control of the secular Israeli state, want to take control of Israel and create a new state religion, Israelism rather than Judaism, and will take all steps necessary to do this. That's reference 11. But by the way, Hamas was reference 10. I missed that. I didn't see it. Islam for UK, a prescribed radical Islamist group, offshoot of Al-Muhajirun. Specific cases of the British government consciously seeking to destroy Islam, and that's reference 12. Nation of Islam. Beliefs include God will bring about a universal government of peace. The original race of black men is superior to white. Allah has returned as W. Fard Muhammad, the founder. Intermarriage between races should be prohibited. Various conspiracies of Jewish control by current leader Louis Farrakhan, leader of the Nation of Islam, who is on record saying they, the Jews, control black intellectuals, they control black politicians, black preachers, black artists, they control life. I'm not against Jews, I'm against control by any group of us. That's quotation 13, or reference 13. World Church of the Creator or Creativity Movement. Zog, and this is reference 15. I don't know where reference 14's gone. Oh no, sorry. World Church of the Creator or Creativity Movement. Avowedly non-violent white supremacist group, although 17 of its members have been involved in acts of racial violence. Reference 14. Description, Zog. 15. Reference 15. Medical profession is a cartel and government-controlled hoax. 16. All forms of medicine are poisonous to the body, impending racial holy war. And that's reference 17 and 16 just before that when I said 16 without explaining why I said it. This is a new group, it's cults. Aum Shinriko, a Japanese new religious cult founded in 1984 and notorious for the 1995 sarin gas attacks on the Tokyo subway. The group's ideology is a product of an idiosyncratic interpretation of Christianity, Buddhism and yoga by its founder and charismatic leader Shoko Asahara. Conspiracy between the Japanese government, the United States and the Jews exists to gain world domination. Reference 18. Nuru Nubians, classified by Southern Poverty Law Center as a black supremacist hate group. The leader's literature includes theories, ufology, extraterrestrial origins of the humanity, extraterrestrials control Hollywood, Illuminati, anti-group conspiracies. Reference 19. Next one. People's Temple, a religious group founded by Jim Jones in 1955. It became notorious for the Jonestown incident, where on the 17th to 18th of November 1978, 918 people, including 270 people, died at the group's headquarters after drinking cyanide-laced flavoured aid. They also shot and killed Leo Ryan, a serving US congressman, and 3 journalists. A US government-wide conspiracy against the group, which involved the CIA and defectors from the People's Temple. Reference 20. A new category now, far right. Afrikaner nationalism. The Illuminati, composed of international financiers, a surrogate passive black government that could possibly be controlled. This could only be... Yeah, sorry, there was a bit of noise there. Yeah, right, new category, far right. Afrikaner nationalism. The Illuminati, composed of international financiers, created a surrogate passive black government that could be easily controlled. This could only be brought about by the destruction of the Afrikaner nationalism. That's reference 21. Aryan Nations, white nationalist neo-Nazi group from the United States. Zog, New World Order, a liberal Marxist homosexual Zionist coalition, covertly censors and disrupts the activities of Aryan peoples. Reference 22. British People's Party. The party is committed to British fascism, British nationalism, white separatism, distributism, and the implementation of 14 words. Martin Gilliard, convicted in 2008 of making a bomb, was a member. Beliefs are Zog, that's 23, reference 23. Combat 18, beliefs, sorry, no, just going to read the rest about because it's going to the next page. A violent neo-Nazi organisation originating in the UK. Beliefs, Zog, Protocols of the Elders of Zion. Belief that the elections are rigged. Reference 24. Imperial Clans of America. Ku Klux Klan. The Allied organisations Southern White Knights, Alabama White Knights, Texas Knights, etc. Imperial Clans of America remains a force on the radical racist American right, estimated to have 110 chapters or clavans and 4,000 to 5,000 members. Reference 25. America is threatened by non-white minorities, Zog, and New World Order. Unholy coalition of anti-white, anti-Christian liberals, socialists, feminists, homosexuals and militant minorities have managed to seize control of our government and mass media. Reference 26. Racial Volunteer Force, a splinter group of Combat 18. Why didn't they put it underneath Combat 18 then? Okay. Zog, Protocols of the Elders of Zion, Holocaust Myth, reference 27. Timothy McVeigh and far-right US militia groups. Militia groups is an umbrella term for the many US paramilitary groups that claim the right to bear arms under the Second Amendment of the US Constitution. Well, that is what the Second Amendment of the Constitution states. It includes the Michigan militia, the Montana militia. Right, it just goes on about different militias. The groups are united in the belief that the federal government is hostile to their freedoms. Big government, affirmative action and gun control are driven by Zog, Turner Diaries, One World Government, imminent UN forces about to invade America, the creation of FEMA concentration camps, the confiscation of guns from all American citizens, imminent imposition of martial law. Reference 28 and 29. Far left. Angry Brigade, a militant left-wing anarchist group. They were before Al-Qaeda, the last homegrown terrorist group on the British mainland. They conducted a series of small-scale bombings between 1970 and 72. Angry Brigade communiques present the action of the bosses as a coherent and conscious attempt to emasculate the working classes. Reference 30. Anti-globalization extremism. The movement's adherence to the principles of leaderless resistance make it difficult to identify statements attributable to the movement as a whole. Many of the most extreme post-2000 anti-globalization narratives personalize and intentionalize the process of globalization and describe it as the result of the conscious machinations of the powerful few. Some portray these powerful few to be international financiers, some money Jews. In America, these are allegations that an anti-globalization website, Anti-Globalization Action Network, is a front for the neo-Nazi National Alliance. Reference 31. Red Army Faction, RAF, founded in 1970, a communist urban guerrilla group engaged in what they claim to be an anti-imperialist struggle against the fascist state, responsible for 34 deaths before disbandment in 1998. Beliefs. Malevolent authorities use economic means to oppress the people. Horst Mahler, Mahler, founding member of the RAF, at his 1970 trial in Berlin. You charge me with conspiracy, ... but you yourself, the gang of General Motors, Ford, Aramco, General Electric, ITT, Siemens, AEG, Flick, F-L-I-C-K, Quadrant, Q-U-A-N-D-T, BASF, Springer, Unilever, United Fruit, and certain others, the transitional consortia of capital, altogether, the imperialist monopoly capital, are the most monstrous criminal association in history. Exploitation and repression are globally organized. Reference 32. Revolutionary Sect Group, responsible for the shooting of the investigative journalist Socrates Guiolias. Reference 33. They claim not to be in politics because of the bias of the status quo. We are not in politics, we are in armed struggle. In all these decades, political parties, judicial and executive powers have exposed the interests of the status quo they work for. The time for analysing is over. Reference 34. Then we've got the new section, which is Other. The first one is Anti-Technology Extremism. Neo-Luddites, anarcho-primitivists advocate a return to non-civilized ways of life based on anarchistic critique of civilization and development. Some members claim that there may be an explicit or implicit organization of intellectuals, technologists, technocrats, intelligentsia, technophiles, and other such intellectual elites who push a radically pro-technology, pro-scientific, anti-natural, anti-environment, dehumanization, anti-freedom agenda. Committee for Liquidation of Computers, CLODO. They committed their most major terrorist attack in 1983 when they firebombed the Sperry Univac company in Toulouse. Believe that the computer is the favourite tool of the dominant. It is used to exploit, to put on file, to control, to repress. References 36 and 37. Pamyat, a Russian ultranationalist organization founded in the 1970s. The group has been dormant throughout most of the 1990s, but reactivated in 2005. Its aim is to lead the Russian people in national spiritual revival. They believe in Zog, protocols of the learned elders of Zion, Jews blamed for triggering the Russian revolutions, Source reference 38. National Revolutionary Faction promotes a radical anti-capitalist and anti-Marxist anarchist agenda of autonomous rural communities within a decentralized pan-European framework. They believe in the New World Order. Reference 39. Woden's folk. They believe in the restoration of Anglo-Saxon heathenism and of opposition to multicultural society. I don't think Anglo-Saxons were heathens, were they? Mythology of Ragnarok, Last Avatar, Final Battle, reference 40. Right, that's the end of that table. And that was page 15, so I'm moving on to page 16. Introduction. We live in an age where the moral authority of our elected representatives has been seriously eroded and the actions of the state treated with unprecedented cynicism. Reference 41. People ask of events, cui bono, who benefits? Conspiracy theories often supply the answer. Today it seems that one is considered naive to believe things happen by accident, that things can in fact be as they appear, events sometimes unconnected. Reference 42. Conspiracy theories are distinguished from other accounts of events in two important ways. First, they are an effort to explain an event by reference to the machinations of powerful people who have also managed to conceal their role. Reference 43. In such conspiracies, world events are orchestrated by the conscious and deliberate actions of a small number of powerful people following their hidden, nefarious agenda to the detriment of the people. This alone is insufficient because some conspiracies have turned out to be true. Our institutions and governments have deceived the population to advance hidden and unstated interests. Well-known examples include Operation Northwoods in 1963, where the US Joint Chiefs of Staff discussed, but never implemented, manufacturing a communist Cuban terror campaign in Miami, a casus belli. Reference 44, and the CIA involvement in a coup d'etat against the democratically elected Chilean leader Salvador Allende in 1973. Reference 45. More recently, at the time of writing, an investigation has revealed that the UK government, the police and the Catholic Church conspired to keep a priest's involvement in the Claudy bombings. Secret. Claudy is C-L-A-U-D-Y, and that's reference 46. What distinguishes conspiracy theories from genuine efforts to uncover actual conspiracies is that a conspiracy theory is not the most plausible account of events based on available evidence. David Aronovich points out they attribute secret action that might far more reasonably be explained as the less covert and less complicated action of another. Reference 47. This is driven by the fact that the conspiracy theory is also unremittingly skeptical of any official accounts of events, whatever the evidence. And this is page 17. According to conspiracy expert Michael Barkun, such theories are predicted on the idea that any widely accepted belief must necessarily be false. Reference 48. Taken together, then, we define a conspiracy theory as an account of events as the deliberate product of a powerful few, regardless of the evidence. Conspiracy theories have become a mainstream cultural phenomenon. Well-known conspiracies have sprung up around almost every major cultural or political event of the last century. The causes of the two world wars, the assassination of John F. Kennedy, the moon landing, the death of Princess Diana, nuclear tests, major discoveries, and economic collapses. They are especially prevalent in relation to terrorist incidents. In 1995, it was claimed in the House of Commons that crucial evidence associated with the Lockerbie bombing was a CIA plant. Reference 49. The 2004 Madrid train bombings have been blamed on a plot by ETA. Members of the Moroccan and Spanish intelligence services, the Partido Socialista, or Obrero Español, Spanish Socialist Party or PSOE, and the media group Prisa, Prisa, publisher of El País, that's EL space PAIS, newspaper, and the radio network Cadena Ser, CADENA space SER, reference 50. Films such as Ludicrous Diversion and Mind the Gap suggest the 7/7 bombings was a false flag operation, reference 51. The 2008 Mumbai attacks, too, were alleged to be a false flag operation conducted by Hindus and white men, reference 52. Most notoriously and influentially, the 9/11 Truth Movement has questioned the official accounts of 9/11 and has become a large and growing political force. The conspiracy theories themselves have sought some structural consistency and often overlap significantly, but are usually tailored to each group or individual that believes in them. Generally, conspiracy theories can be divided into a number of different classes. Conspiracies of control. These uncover the secret, real power relationships of the world. They argue the world, the nation, the state, the media, all the establishment sits under the control of a unitary body of collaborators. The identity of this controlling cabal is often a product of the group's own signature prejudices. For neo-Nazis, it is, page 18, Zionist Occupied Government, or ZOG. For anarchists, international financiers. For Al-Qaeda, the capitalist West. And for anti-abortion extremists, secular humanists. Concepts like the Bilderberg Group, the Illuminati, and Freemasonry are common in these theories. Sometimes these theories state that the eventual aim of this group is one world government, known as the New World Order. Plots against the group. Often, emerging from conspiracies of control, groups can construct more specific theories of attempts by this elite group to destroy the group itself. These can be direct, such as the infiltration of secret police into the group, or indirect, such as the coordinated use of the media to misrepresent and discredit the group's ideology. Specific event theories. A group's interpretation of specific events is usually influenced by their belief in conspiracies of control and sometimes from a belief in a concerted campaign against the group itself. Even like major terrorism arrests and attacks are understood by how they advance the hidden interests of the conspirators. Complex or supernatural conspiracies. There are a number of conspiracy theories that, due to their complex interaction with other forms of counter-knowledge, defy easy categorization, such as ufology, UFOlogy, the occult, and David Icke's shape-shifting lizards. According to Michael Barkham, the last 20 years has seen these different types of conspiracies merge. Anti-Semitic conspiracies are now found in ufologist literature. For example, that's reference 50.